What is going on, guys? My name is Ben. How are you guys doing today? And what I have for you today in this video is I want to talk about whether you guys should upgrade to iOS 7 or no. Let me restate the question. And so excuse the correction. What I want to do in this video is discuss about whether iOS 7 is a worthy upgrade to your iOS device. Now, again, you guys are probably like, of course it's worthy because it's the latest iOS operating system out there made by Apple, and it's the latest version of iOS, so of course you want to update. I understand that, and that is true. But at the same time, there is also reasons why it's not the best latest upgrade, and it'll depend on your device. So I've been using iOS 7 for about 2 weeks now, somewhere around that, since the release. I forgot when it was released. I believe it was like the 18th. And so I've been using this thing, this operating system, for like maybe 2 to 3 weeks or something. And I've been using it on my iPod Touch 5th generation and my iPhone 4, which is charging right now. So that's why I don't have it with me. So first of all, what happened in iOS 7? Well, first of all, it was redesigned by somebody else, Johnny Ive. Scott Forstall was stepped down from his position of the vice president of iOS software, whatever that position is called, and Johnny Ive brought like most of his people to help him work on iOS 7, as well as some of the engineers that were at Apple over there, and they pretty much redesigned almost all the operating system, and it looks different now. So as you can see, this is what iOS 7 looks like. For those of you guys that not have seen it before, and it looks more like, I'm not sure how to describe this. I want to say cartoon-like, but at the same time, I'm not sure if that's appropriate for iOS 7. But some people have described it as cartoon-like, and it kind of reminds you of Android. And here's the reason why: because you see like all these menus on here. For example, I'm in the settings app. Doesn't that look similar to Android? I mean, I've used a Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 before from a relative because they had that tablet, and the menus on here feel like Android. Some of them, I'm not saying all of them. And the apps are redesigned right now, like the music app, and the weather app, the photos app, the camera app, the calendar app. Multiple apps out there, maps. So Apple pretty much like redesigned almost everything. And as far as additional functionality is concerned, well, you swipe up right here, you got the control center, and this is basically like your toggle settings, which has been in the jailbreaking world for a long time. I believe since the start of jailbreaking on the original iPhone. So what else has been added into iOS 7? Well, you got the parallax effect, so it'll give you like live wallpaper, so when you move your device around, then the wallpaper goes with it. And overall, iOS 7 has been fun to play with. And at first, when I saw iOS 7 on my device, I was like, ooh, this kind of looks weird. But then it took me like 30 seconds to get used to it, so I'm like, okay, now I'm good with it. But that always happens when you get like a new product, most of the time. But I don't think it's every time or all the time, however you guys want to say it. So iOS 7, do I think it's a worthy upgrade? Well, so far I think it's a worthy upgrade, but just in certain situations, not in all situations. So let me explain that. So iOS 7, this is available for the iPad 2, iPad 3, and the iPad 4, and the iPad mini. This is available on the iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, iPhone 5, and then you got the newly released iPhone 5S, but that automatically came with iOS 7. And the iPhone 5C, again, newly released, automatically came with iOS 7. And you also have the iPod Touch 5th generation right here. If you had the 4th generation iPod Touch, you are out of luck. So I can't describe my experiences of iOS 7 on all devices because I only have 2 devices in my hand, in my possession, that are compatible with iOS 7. The iPod Touch 5th generation, and I got the iPhone 4 right there. But other than that, if you have like the newer devices like the iPhone 5 and the iPod Touch 5th generation, as well as the iPad 4 and the iPad mini, then iOS 7 should work completely fine on your device. Now we get into the older devices. So let me start with the iPhone 4S. iPhone 4S, I've never used the iOS 7 on the iPhone 4S before. I never even owned a 4S before. I got the 4 right there, but not the 4S. And well, but I think the experience that you will get on the iPhone 4S is just like the experience you get on the iPhone 4 running iOS 6. Because the iPhone 4 was actually capable of running iOS 6. Even though it wasn't the best, but hey, it wasn't even close to how the iPhone 3G ran iOS 4. The iPhone 4 actually ran pretty good, or very good I should say. Maybe not the full potential as if the iPhone 5 ran iOS 6 or the iPhone 4S ran iOS 6, because there would be some lag a little bit here and there, but overall it's actually not that bad. Although as far as the iPod Touch 5th generation, like again, this doesn't have to be talked about because of course it's going to run fine, even though there's some bugs on there. Now, as far as the iPhone 4 is concerned, I can say something about this because I do have an iPhone 4 on iOS 7. And what can I say about iOS 7 on the iPhone 4? It really comes to if you really want to update or if you could care less. And let me explain why. So, iOS 7, when it first came out, I decided to hold off in the iPhone 4 because I wanted to do some videos on it, showing you guys like the differences in terms of the style between iOS 7 and iOS 6, and I have made that video already if you guys haven't seen that yet. And then after I was done with that video, I immediately updated and started updating my iPhone 4 to iOS 7. And then once iOS 7 was installed on my iPhone 4, I was able to play around with it. And when I first played around with it, I was like, this isn't what I really expected. Like, I knew the iPhone 4 was gonna run a little bit worse than how it ran iOS 6, but I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. Well, it's actually not that bad, but it's close to being almost as bad as the iPhone 3G running iOS 4. And I really don't want to say that because the iPhone 4 is capable of running iOS 7, and in my opinion the iPhone 3G was not capable of running iOS 4 at all. I don't know why Apple pushed the update for iOS 4 and the 3G. They should have like just canceled that. Because the iPhone 3G on iOS 4, it doesn't run very well on it. It's always sluggish and laggy. It's stuttery, and it makes the phone even slower. And iOS 7 on the iPhone 4, it does make it a little bit slower. At first, when I was first using it, it was kind of laggy a little bit, but then it kind of like wore off, and now like it's running perfectly smooth. And then again, sometimes you'll notice the lag in the iPhone 4, and next thing you know, you'll notice that sometimes the iPhone 4 will freeze up on you at some certain point. I don't know what it's doing. Maybe it was just crapping out, and it must be like iOS 7 going crazy on the iPhone 4. So, is it a worthy upgrade for the iPhone 4? It really just depends. If you really want it, then go ahead and update, but if you're not too concerned about it, I suggest you stay on iOS 6. Even though you're not going to get the most updated apps, I recommend you stay on iOS 6 if you're on the iPhone 4. And not to mention that Apple had to limit as many of the key features of iOS 7 on the iPhone 4. For instance, there was no AirDrop option. At least it had the control center option. And then like there was also some other things that were not available on the iPhone 4 of iOS 7. So some devices, including the iPhone 4S, had to be limited on options or features of iOS 7 and couldn't support it. But the iPhone 4S still supports more features than the iPhone 4. And as far as the iPad 2 is concerned, I'm not sure about the experience on that because I never used iOS 7 on the iPad 2, but maybe it's similar to the iPhone 4 because they were both kind of released around the same time period. I think that the iPad 2 was actually released a few, like maybe 6 or 7 months after the iPhone 4 was announced. And as far as the iPad 3 is concerned, I don't know, maybe it runs around like the 4S, or maybe it's the same as the iPad 4, because the only difference on the iPad 4 was it got a lightning connector on it, whereas the iPad 3 didn't. It had the 30 pin. So overall, is iOS 7 a worthy upgrade? In my opinion, there's no definite answer to this, because it'll depend on what device you have and if you feel the need to upgrade. And it's always going to be that with every generation of iOS that comes up, because it really just depends on the device that you're using. And in my case, I do like the fact of having iOS 7 on my iPhone 4, to be honest. Even though it has all these sluggish problems, I don't mind having iOS 7 on the iPhone 4 because it is bad, but it's only bad by a little bit. Not as bad as the iPhone 3G running iOS 4. But at the same time, there are times where I do wish that I kind of stuck with iOS 6, because if you think about it, I mean, iOS 6 did run a lot better on the iPhone 4 than iOS 7 running on the iPhone 4. And plus, just for like a little side note, I would have one iOS 7 device and then one iOS 6 device in my other hand. Another thing that I want to mention is, like, I get this weird bug in iOS 7. So for example, let's say I want to launch an app, and I'm going to launch the music app, and then when I launch it, hold my finger down. Actually, I don't think it's doing that with this one because it's running in the background. Yeah, it's running in the background. So let me try it again, and then hold my finger. Maybe it stopped. But it does do this. What I'm trying to show you guys is that sometimes when you launch an app, you know how when you push and hold it, it does the little jiggly dance, as you can see from here. So that way you can delete an app or you can move an app. Well, apparently, if I were to launch an app and then I would like hold my finger down on the screen at a random spot, and then it'll start backing out of the app to do the jiggly dance and then reopen the app. You know, that's a weird bug that I got. So let me try a different app. And I know I'm failing here. Let me try this one, Swagbucks TV. Yeah, see, there you go. I hope you guys saw that. And then I let go, or it'll just eventually go back to yourself. So I hope you guys saw that. I'm pretty sure you did. So that's like one of the minor bugs that needs to be fixed in update. I mean, we're on iOS 7.0.2 right now, and Apple hasn't addressed this issue yet. So one of the questions that I want to ask you guys is, do you think that iOS 7 is a worthy upgrade? For me, I can't tell you guys there's a definite answer to this, because it'll just depend on your device, and it'll just depend on how much you want it. But here's the thing. I always believe, and this is a true fact, that you should be on the latest version of your operating system, because if you're not, chances are whenever you get apps, they're going to be outdated, and then like some of the apps will eventually not work on the outdated software. That's why you need the latest version of the operating system. Same thing with the iPhone 3G. You know, some of the apps that I use on here, I can't even get them on the 3G because the 3G is old and it's running outdated software. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.